I have been a long-term customer of Aaron's Furniture for several years. In fact, probably more than 10 years at this point, off and on. My first item I've ever rented to own through Aaron's Furniture Corporation was an Xbox One. Um, Way back when Xbox Connect came out. Actually, I think it was a 360. I apologize. And had that no problem. Paid off all my payments on time. Everything flawless. No problems. Second item, I believe, was a TV. I had that TV for about 6 months or so. I'm not sure exactly how long, but I had it for a good chunk of time. I returned the TV, still with all my payments fully paid off. I returned it because I came to a point where I didn't need it anymore. Had nothing to do with Aaron's Furniture at all. I just didn't need it anymore. I ended up getting another TV for free. So I was not needing that TV anymore and having to make payments. And then after that, I ended up renting to own a MacBook Air 2017 model. And that was back when the MacBook Air was brand new, like fresh in the store, like hot in the market. And all items I have paid way over the amount of retail price, which is understandable, but the amount that they overcharge you is astronomical. But for people like me who cannot buy things outright, going to Aaron's Furniture becomes the only option unless I want to wait months to save up. So I had no choice. So anyway, paid off a MacBook Air completely. No late payments or anything. So yeah, and that was my final item for a while. And now, just back in 2024, right before my birthday, my Xbox, not the same one I got from Aaron, it's a whole nother Xbox that I ended up buying myself. This Xbox has nothing to do with Aaron's Furniture. This Xbox shit the bed. I had a feeling it was going to shit the bed. It was an older Xbox. So it happened at a time where I could not afford to get an Xbox right away, but I was utilizing my Xbox for more than just video games. I'm relying on my Xbox for watching TV and, yeah, it's basically like a computer that you can play on, console. So, with my Xbox crap the bed randomly on me one day, I had no choice because I didn't have any money. And I hit up Aaron's to see if they could help me out. And at first, they were willing to help me out. They were being very nice, negotiable. So I thought I was in good hands once again. So I went in store, looked at the Xbox, signed the contract. Everything honky-dory. Everything looked great. Up until about 8 months into owning the Xbox, the controller decided to get stick drift. Now, if you're a real gamer like me, you know that when a controller has stick drift, that isn't user error. That's wear and tear. And I'm already not only on a fixed budget, but I'm already paying overly priced a month for an Xbox. So I called them up, and this was the first time I called them up to replace the controller. Because in my contract, it literally states, like with a period at the end of it, that if anything breaks that's part of the Xbox, they have to replace. So when I saw that section, I was like, alright, cool. Maybe I don't have to replace the Xbox controller myself. So I called them up, and they were basically telling me that they were believing it was my fault because of, well, they didn't straight up say that, but they were making me feel like it was my fault and acting like I had no idea what I was doing with the product when I was explaining to the guy that if he knew what gaming was, then he would understand that that's what happened. And he basically didn't want to hear me out. He was being very ignorant. And I wasn't gonna drop his name before because I was still battling it, but the battle is over. So his name is Dave over at St. Albans, Vermont location. Basically, from the get-go, he has been treating me like garbage, making me feel like a worthless piece of crap, and acting like I don't know anything. And when I was trying to negotiate with him and let him know that it's part of the contract, instead of him just, agreeing to it, he decided to fight and try to act like he was in the right when I get it if you're trying to do that, but you're not going to win against me if I'm fighting you with facts. I was using my facts while I knew my rights were with my contract to him. And he didn't want to hear it because he knew I was right. And, I wasn't calling him names or anything over the phone. I was just using facts and my rights as a customer with the contract stating, that they are, they're supposed to give me a new controller. Because I also told them on the fact of if I were to buy or rent to own a TV or a computer, say, right? What if the remote to that TV or the mouse or keyboard to that computer decides to crap the bed? Those devices become quite useless, right? Yeah. So when my controller decided to not work properly anymore, my Xbox became very, very inconvenient to use. And they were doing nothing, especially Dave, to help me out. So therefore, I had to go ahead, and even though I felt like I shouldn't have to do this, I had to call corporate. So I called corporate, and it was basically a month battle still fighting them, because at first it seemed like they were going to help me out. Then they weren't calling me back. So then I had to call them back over and over and over again. Then finally the regional manager called me back. And at first he was being good to me. He was understanding and everything like that. Being respectful for the most part. But as soon as he started being disrespectful, just like Dave was, in the terms of just making me feel like I didn't know what I was doing, making me feel like that I was trying to pull a fast one, and all this. And basically treating me like a piece of garbage. And so, he was not acting any better than Dave was, the manager. And I forget the regional manager's name, of course. And he started saying, I'm gonna do you a solid and give you a controller, but we're not supposed to do that. But then I started saying back at him that it doesn't really matter what you say, it's what's in the contract that I signed that I'm going by, right? Because you can say anything. But once I signed that contract, there's letters on that. There's words on a piece of paper for a reason. And when you sign a contract, you're agreeing to what it says on the paper, not what the heck they have to say. Right? So, that's what I said to him, and he didn't like that. So he hung up on me. Of course, I called them back, and I complained. Waited about a week, still no answer, and then finally I called them up yesterday. Oh no, sorry, 2 days ago. And I had a very stern talk with another, I don't know if it was a regional manager, but it was another individual. And again, worst customer service I've ever dealt with. I couldn't believe the disrespect I was receiving. Even when I asked for the name of the person, and, you know, told them everything, they just kept cutting me off and raising their voice at me. Terrible customer service. So I had to evidently threaten them with posting, exposing the truth about Aaron's Furniture here on my social media. So here is the second controller that they gave me. And this controller is the one that I had to fight for a month and a half almost, because this had bad stick drift right here, to finally get this new one today. And what I'm going to say is it was such a heartache to get this, and I'm very ashamed and disappointed, and I'm embarrassed now to be a customer of Aaron's Furniture. But the only reason why, at this point, I am not going to cancel my contract is because I am way too far ahead, or not ahead, sorry. I am way too far along in my contract at this point to where if I give up my Xbox to them, they basically won. Which, I'm not looking to win ultimately, but I put in way too much money with the Xbox now, so I would be basically losing out more than anything else. So I have about 6 months, 6 to 8 months until my Xbox paid off. So once the Xbox, this one's done, a contract, I'm done with Aaron's Furniture forever. And this controller, I'm going to end the conversation with this. This controller right here, I got it today. They showed up this morning and they gave it to me. Not without signing an additional contract, which I'm not going to show you the picture because, of course, I signed it. But basically, it's stating it's a whole nother new contract stating that if this one breaks now, anyway, before my contract ends, I have to replace it now. I find it funny how, after all these years of being an Aaron's customer, they pull out a second contract because they're too greedy to replace a $60 controller when I'm already paying out the ass for an Xbox that's like triple the price of actual retail price. So what I'm going to end the video here with saying is that for anybody who is thinking about getting anything from Aaron's Furniture, don't do it. It's a terrible idea, and it's well worth just saving up your money and getting the actual item yourself at some point in the future. Because they will just be greedy, and they just want your money, and if anything breaks on the item, they're going to blame you. So don't go through Aaron's. It's a bad idea. I feel bad for Dave. He's really insufferable. And then the regional manager, I can't fathom the disrespect I received over in their department, even after how much money I've given them in the past 10 years or so. So yeah, I'm not going to stop you guys from calling St. Albans. I'm not going to stop you from calling corporate or anything like that. Do whatever you guys please and whatever you want with them. But I just want to tell you one thing. This is my review. This is my experience with Aaron's Furniture. And again, I will never be going to them again. Thank you guys. Have a good day. And thanks for watching. Peace out, guys. Stay awesome.